What's up, math scholars? We are back from a long week off of school, so I'm energized. Are you guys energized and excited to do some learning? How many people woke up before 11 during the break? Yeah, most people are doing a lot of sleeping in, I've heard. All right, so the standard form is ax plus by equals c, where there's numbers in for a, b, and c. So before I started this video, I had a chat with a class that you've seen this before. You probably just didn't realize it was called standard form. But it's very easy to find x and y intercepts when you're in standard form. Because you can just kind of cover and solve and cover and solve.
That's a lot of letters.
There's a lot of letters. But in reality, I'll just show you an example for the people in the video because they couldn't see what was on my whiteboard over there. 5x plus 2y equals 20. So that is in standard form. In standard form, it just makes it so easy and convenient to get those x and y intercepts. So I'm just refreshing what we did earlier in the course. We would put a 0 in for x, and we would cover it, and we'd solve for y, and that would be called the y-intercept. What would that one be? 10, very good. And then you'd put a 0 in for y, and you'd cover it, and you'd solve it. And what would that be? 4. That'd be called the x-intercept. Okay. I didn't realize I had this example down here, but yeah, you got it. So you're not actually going to see an A and a B and a C. You're going to see numbers in those spots. Okay?
Oh my gosh,
Okay, so to convert something from slope-intercept form or point-slope form, what you're going to want to do is get your x and y all together on one side. Then you're going to want to clear the fractions. And to clear the fractions, you multiply through by the common denominator of all the fractions. Now in this case, I think we're only going to have one fraction, so clearing that fraction will be a piece of cake.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're writing down the steps, so I'm going to pause, give them some writing time. Alright, I think we're ready. While we were on pause, we came up with a scholar plan, I called it, but we always want to try to have the term with the x remain positive. So I'm actually going to leave the x term where it's at right now. We're going to move the y term over to join the x term. And if you can visualize this, you could actually do it in the same step. You can move the 7 over to the right-hand side. So when I know that looks like a big old mess, but when it's all said and done, you're going to have the 4/5 x with a negative y on the right side of the equal sign, and you're going to have a positive 7 on the left-hand side of the equal sign. So do you see that happening? This step here was me moving the y. This step here was me moving the 7. I did it in one step. Now, if you want to do it in 2 steps because that makes more sense to you, you can. Did you visualize what happened? I can point. This y moved to the right. This negative 7 moved to the left. Yep, they swap sides. Yep.
Are we doing more buddies today?
Maybe. So now my next step is to clear the fraction. What you're going to want to do to clear the fraction is multiply every single term by 5. Because whatever you do to one term, you have to do to all the terms to remain fair. Remain balanced. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 4/5, the 5 cancels out, so it's just a 4x. And then a negative y times a 5 is negative 5y. And now I'm in standard form. I've got my a, x, my b, y, and my c. Do you see what happened? It looks so messy. I should have done that in 2 steps. I'm sorry. All right, let's see what's going on here. Find the standard form equation of a line with slope -3 going through the point 6, -2. All right, let's be scholars with plans. Ken, you got a plan? What I'm actually, I don't know, but what I would actually do is use this as my x, use this as a y, and use this as my slope, and I would just start myself off in point-slope form. If they're giving you a point, and they're giving you the slope, and then we can convert to standard. That makes sense? All right, so do you guys remember how the song goes for point-slope form? Oh my gosh, a whole week has gone by, and that many people remember the song? I'm proud. All right, y minus y equals slope. X minus x, and now we're just on a convert mission. So that's point slope form. Now we're going to convert to standard form. Y minus a -2, I'll make that y plus 2. Then we'll distribute the -3. So -3x plus 18. Standard form, we want our x's and our y's on the same side together, and we want our numbers on the other side. So I'm just looking at my plan. I think I'm going to move this. I'll do it in 2 steps on this math problem so it's not so messy. I'm going to move my -3x over to the left-hand side so it can be a positive and it can live with the y. Now I still have this 2 and I still have this 18. I'm going to finish by getting the 2 to join the 18. And I think doing it in 2 steps just keeps my board a little less messy. Did you see what happened? All the variables moved to the left, all the numbers moved to the right. And everything's positive. Nice. All right. I'll hit pause and you ask your question. All right, let's read it together and come up with the plan.
Find the standard.
We need to do standard form. But good. I actually heard, I think it was Melanie, she had the biggest scholar plan I've heard, and that's find the slope. I think we should find the slope, probably take our favorite xy, do point slope form, and then convert it to standard. All right. Slope formula. Do you remember it? Y minus y over x minus x. This is an x, this is a y, this is an x, this is a y. I'll just start with the second one, so -4 minus -1, and then 6 minus 4. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to avoid negatives in this one. On the top, this will become a plus, so it'll be a -3. On the bottom, it'll be a 2. There's my slope. Anthony, we have a fraction slope, so this is one we'll have to do the fraction clearing technique.
Let's go.
All right. I need, if I'm going to use point slope form, I'm going to need my favorite point. You like the first one? Okay, me too. It's smaller. So let's sing our point slope form song. Y minus y equals slope.
X minus X.
X minus x. Very good singing. Y minus y equals slope. X minus x. They went fast. I'm just checking what I put in. Now we're converting to standard form. So let's distribute and get everybody on the side we need it to be on. When I distribute that, it's a -3 over 2x. I'm distributing, and then I'm going to get every x and y on the same side together, and all my numbers on the other side. What's a -3/2 times -4? I think it's a +6. You might need a calculator to check that.
Check it.
It's a -3/2 times -4, so it become a +12 over 2. It's 6. It is. You know how I'm doing that mentally, right? -3 times -4 is a +12 divided by 2. Okay. Now, I want to get all my x's and y's together. So I'm going to move this one over to join this one, because then it can become a positive x value. And I'm doing it in 2 steps again so it doesn't get messy. So I've got a +3 over 2x, a positive y, a +1, and my +6 is still over there. We have one more step and we're in standard form. Do you know what it is?
-1.
Move the 1. Very good. Brad's getting it.
Very good.
Brad's got his brain turned on. Proud of you, buddy. So we're so close to being in standard form. Yeah. Yeah, you want your x and y on one side together. They could both be living on the right together. That'd be okay. Right, just an x, just a y, and then all the numbers on the opposite side. Yep. So I'm really close to being done. We have one slight problem, and that's I fractions. We don't want fractions in our standard form equation. We're going to multiply everybody by 2. It'll clear our fractions out. So multiply this term by 2, multiply this term by 2, multiply this term by 2. 3x plus 2y is 10. They are dying to do a round of board buddies, and I think they're ready. So let's send them up. Hey, I don't know what group wrote on the smart board, but they did a very, very, very excellent job. So Anthony and Brett, very good, very scholarly job. So they started by taking this 1/6 to get it on the left side. We had chatted off video that maybe leaving this a value where it is probably the best idea because it's positive. You want a positive a value, so just leave the a where it is. Bring the y over to join it, subtract the y over next. And then the fraction and clearing technique is multiply everybody through by 6. This ends up being a -1, this ends up being a positive 5x, and this ends up being a -6y. So you got that positive a value that you like, and you have no fractions left. Good job. Are you leaving?
Everybody separated the process the same way. Not the same spot.
All right. So yeah, it's presented. The information is presented differently. It's on a graph. You could just count the slope, right? So go ahead and do like we did on the other one. All right, listen. I heard some rumblings. This one was hard. It had a negative slope. So yes, at any time a negative. Hey, sit down. Anytime. We are videoing right now. Anytime a negative is involved, it does cause people some headaches. And we had a lot of negatives in this problem because we had that -3/1 slope. If they choose to use 1, 1, that suddenly puts a negative here and here. And when you're distributing, it's a negative times a negative. So a -3 times -1 is a +3. I personally chose to bring the 3x to the left and take the 1 to the right, so my x's and y's could be positive. So that's kind of how they finish that up. 3x plus y is 4. This group had an 8, so something went wrong somewhere.
Yeah, Anthony's like, no.
That section.
I was doing that problem.
It's okay. We're going to keep on moving.
Are you?
Hey, we better not skip this one. I'm just kind of watching the clock here. We don't want to skip a problem with a vertical line problem. We've done it in the past, but you might have forgotten. It's been about a month. So let's look at the red line first. The red line goes straight up and down and crosses through the x-axis where? What's that coordinate right there? 4. So is it y equals 4 or x equals 4 for the red line? X equals 4. If it crosses the x-axis at 4, it's x equals 4. That's technically standard form. Because the x's and y's are all on one side together and the numbers are on the other side.
Yeah.
What about the blue line? Look at the blue line. The blue line is crossing through the y-axis where? -4. So it's y equals -4. You're right. This is 0 fun. That's a 0 slope, and this is an undefined slope. You're right. I'm glad you remember that. That's it for those two.
Yeah.
All right, graph using standard form. We can knock these out pretty quick. What's the quickest way to graph things in standard form? Find the intercepts, doing the cover-up method. So let's just do part A real quick. We're using the cover-up method to get our intercepts.
-3.
So if I cover up x, it's -3, thank you. And if I cover up y, it's
4.
thank you. So 0, -3 is here, 4, 0 is here, and you connect. All right, go ahead and figure out what the intercepts are in the second one.
-14.
Cover up the x, -14. Cover up the y, +4. I think this one's going to be off my grid. So 4, 0 is on my grid. Or 4, 0 is actually right here. But 0, -14 would be down off the picture. I'll just estimate. It's got a pretty steep slope. And then do you remember how to graph part C?
Put it right on the line.
Go to the x-axis, go to -1, make a dot, and then cross the axis.
Yep.
And then how about part D?
Up.
So that whole entire slide was just designed to remind you what you've learned before. We've already done all that stuff before.
Rather than make it so much, just make it look sloppy.
All right, last slide. We've got a class taking a trip to the library. You can travel in small and large vans. A small van's holding 8 people. A large van's holding 12 people. And your class has 144 students. So I like these. You can definitely use standard form for these. How about we have the small van being our x, and our large van being our y. Do you know what my standard form equation would look like? Anybody know? So 8 people can fit in a small van. So you're going to do 8x. Very good. 12y. And that's going to equal your 144. We've actually done problems like this too. Remember student tickets and adult tickets on that one quiz? How many student tickets can you buy? How many adult tickets can you buy to total the round of total? Same thing. How many small vans can you take? How many large vans can you take to total the 144? You got to find combinations that work. I remember these were always frustrating, finding those combinations that work. Well, let's just obviously do the zeros first, then maybe we'll try find another couple combinations that work. If we put a 0 in for x, we cover it. Solve for y, what would you get? It's 144 divided by 12. Good. I will need your calculator here because I don't know what 144 divided by 8 is. Is it 18? Okay. And then we probably should find at least 1 or 2 other combinations that work. I would try to stick with maybe even numbers. Like, let's try 2 for x. I don't know if it'll work or not. I'm just trying. This is called trial and error. So I'm going to put a 2 in for x, and I'm going to solve for y, and I'm going to see if I get a nice whole number of no decimals.
16.
So it'll be, get close to the microphone, it'll be 144 subtract over the 16 divided by 12. And it didn't work. I got 10.66. So scratch that idea.
Try 6.
Try 6? Okay. So 8 times 6 plus 12 times y equals 144. 8 times 6 is 48. I'll subtract over the 48 and divide by 12. Hey, it works. Thank you.
First try, baby.
6 small vans, 8 large vans. Anybody want to try another one? I'd like to get one more combination that works.
8.
8 small vans. So 8 times 8 plus 12 times y equals 144. 144 subtract off 64 divided by 12. That didn't work.
It's 12.
It's 12?
Yep.
Okay. So 8 times 12 is 96. 144 minus 96 divided by 12 is 4. And then you could graph them. This grid's a little too small, but do you remember when we would graph these? We would just graph them with dots. We wouldn't connect our line. So you'd end up having dots that would make a straight line, but you wouldn't want to connect because you can't have decimal vans. Yep. All right, hey, everybody at home, thanks for watching my videos today. Your assignment tonight, it's a book assignment, but it has been captured in Polaris. You get it? Do I need to show you how to get in Polaris? You forget? Get in Polaris, click on Chapter 4, click on the homework folder, and look for the one labeled 4-4. Okay? All right.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, says Brooke. Goodbye.